Now, starting with the TT02 rally build, I had a look at those extra instructions. You just follow them for what you want when it comes up to part 11. But otherwise than that, on this you just follow the standard chassis for the wheelbase. Now, as for upgrades, I'm following, like I said, Bryan's tips. Now, his first one is his coarse bearings. That goes part and parcel. His second one is filling in the front with glue here. Now, I'm not over keen on that idea. It's because it's messy, and I'm always messy with glue at the best of times. But the idea is where the steering, stones can get in, twigs, and it can jam the steering in these little slots. So instead of that, I did print off something on the printer. I did this one first, and this one's a two-piece version. And I'm being truthful, it doesn't fit that well. So we tried that one, but I'd already reprinted this one. I should say, it would need trimming anyway to shape. See, so it was not right. Well, I printed this one off, and quite surprisingly, it fits really nice. You know, whoever designed that done a beautiful job. You know, I just printed it at 1.6 and just done it as it said. So there is, you know what I mean, it just fits so nice. So I'm not worrying about gluing it or anything. It can just sit there. You know what I mean? It's really nice. So that's that bit done. So now we're on to sort of building the chassis. I'm not going to show you too much, because if you want to see a full build, there's full ones out there, but the first section we're going to do is build and build the drive shaft. And the next thing is we'll talk about it is at part 5. Now, the next mod he tells us to do is D15. It says on the book. It's this little bit of plastic. I've already done one side, so you can get a clear picture of how it is. I've just cut off the side bit because that little raised bit restricts the steering. But you can still put this part in to keep dirt out. And this goes just about here. So why I've done it, he uses snips, I've done it with a back saw. It's a bit harder because you've got to hold it. And you've got to keep going until you're through it. That's all it takes to take that piece off. And then grab a file and tied it up. There we go. Get rid of all the bits of plastic, you don't put that in. And then that pops into place as normal. See there? Goes in. And then I put the rear diff in. I've just got to put the rear bevel geared, or gear. And the drive shaft, and just slide this into place. There we go. And then there's a little cover. This is D2. That goes over the bearing here. And then the next upgrade is M3 10mm stainless steel screws. But these are machine screws, so I always recommend putting them in with a bit of wax. There you go. Nicely in with these stainless steel screws. He recommends them because they're stronger than the standard screws, and as we're going off-road he says that'll be better. But that concludes that mod. We're up to part 5 and now it's part 6, the diffs. Now you get anti-wear grease in the kit for sealing round edges and all that. I've got spare anyway, but what he recommends doing is greasing up the diffs with it to stiffen them, because where you off-road it gives you better traction, and he says use a brush to put this on because it's really gooey, and that's a good idea. Gooey is the understatement. And what this does is, you've seen me do it before myself, but it produces a limited slip diff effect. Even with the brush it's hard to get on. Don't know if you can see that. Spreading it all over that gear in there. And then we've got the centre part. We put 4 of these little gears on. What I'm going to do is just get the 4 little inner gears on and drop it in. And then I'll add some grease to that, and then it will spread as we put the other gears in. I can always add a little bit more. get one of the diff caps temporarily to do that. Then we'll put it in and turn it. Then I'm going to add the last of what's in this pot to this one. That should be plenty. You can hear that. And then paint the out section and close the diff. Like I said, all surfaces are now gooey and slowed down quite a lot. And then slide this section on and do it up with the 4 little screws provided. Now on these diff case covers, all I'm doing is putting a smear of grease. I'm not using the anti-wear grease because it's too messy. As long as there's a barrier to stop dirt getting through, that's all you need. And then it's just fitting the wishbones. I've done the rear first and now I'm going to do the front. And then we'll be moving on to mounting the motor, where that changes again. I'm going to be truthful. Now the next thing that is different with this kit is the gearing. This is set up and it says attach as shown across 22. And then it does show fitting with 22 pinion. Well, on the updated instructions, these are changed again, because the funny thing is, this comes with a 19 tooth pinion, but the one Mark built, it had a 17 and a 19 tooth pinion included. So they've decided that is the gear ratio is a little bit higher is good enough to save money one gear now. Now it says about putting grease, anti-wear grease around this disc when you're putting the motor. I'm not going to. I'm just going to use a smear of waterproof grease. It will do the same, and here as well. You know what I'm saying? I am not putting on the anti-wear grease because it is really messy. So that's not. I can't see the point in that. So here's the motor. Oh, tell a lie. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Have we got 1 or 2 pinions? No, we have got 2 pinions. And they're both still. But we're going to use the bigger one. Well, yeah, it's still. That's interesting, isn't it? You know, that it has that option. But like I said, we'll go with the 19. Yeah, because it's on a separate. Look, I've got another bit of paper. I tell you, this is king of bits of paper. Look, and that's where it says about the 19 and whatever. So we'll take the motor and we'll get the mount. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong way, but we'll get the motor plate. And this is where it says that apply the grease is on this disc. Well, like I said, I'm only going to smear some of this. As long as there's something to stop dirt passing, it's going to need a smear. And then we've got the mount. Going to need lots of stagger screws, I think. Nope. Because I'm using different screws, I've not gone into the main bag so far. So we'll go with this one, and it tells you where to go across here. So there's a little 19. It says with no markings facing outwards. I did have it the right way. Oh well. There are sometimes strange little things. Because I cut, it looks like it says. Now we're at the pinion. I'm going to use a small amount of thread lock. And just lightly do it up on the motor. For now. And again, it's saying a bit of grease around the frame, but like I said, I'm just going to use a lightweight grease. You know. And drop that in. Now we've got to screw it in. As it say, got to go back to this one, and it screws in with more 10mm ones. All right. Okay. So we stick to the stainless. Yes, the only thing with these stainless that sometimes I'm having to run them in a couple of times with the wax while they're cutting their threads. Yeah, how tight that is. Take it out then. Add a bit more wax. Make sure you wind it backwards a little bit before going forwards. There we go, that's it. This top one is really sticking. I definitely said 10 mil. Let's double check. Yeah. So the screw length is correct, and these screws are exactly 10. So there should be no problems. But like I said, if you have this trouble, just take them out when they're halfway. Add a bit more wax, and that'll help it wind up. There we go. The motor's in solid. Now we can set the pinion. There you go, that's in place. So that's the motor done. As you can see, it's a bit different, but I'm really impressed that you get 2 gears, you know, and steel ones. Now the next mod, he says, is the rear lower arms. So when they go on, the Tamiya faces towards the front of the car, but what you've got to lose is on the inner side is this lump of plastic. So you've got to do it that they're both the same. You do it from the same side, so you get it exactly the same. They seem universal, which way up, which way round, as long as the Tamiya's at the front. So I'll do cut one off, trim it back. It won't take a lot to do. It's soft plastic. So what we've got to do is, when we make sure we put that on, is it's got to be that side, the Tamiya facing forward, so we've still got a notch at the bottom, see? It's the inner one, so that's one done. So now we know that one's done. We've got to take that one as front, but we've got to do the underneath, cut off that bit. Cutting that way was far easier. So now we go Tamiya inwards, and that will increase the travel once I've got the longer shocks. That's the only trouble against it, is I haven't got the shocks.